The hunter becomes the hunted Captain Marcus. Vale watched the alien dropship descend through the crimson atmosphere of Kepler 442b. His mining expedition had gone sideways 3 days ago when the Zephyrian Empire discovered their illegal operation on what they claimed was sovereign territory. Now stranded alone after his team's evacuation, Marcus faced an elite death squad sent specifically for him. The Zephyrians had made it personal. Marcus had embarrassed their war council by exposing their slave labor camps on the Outer Rim. One human mining engineer had brought down an entire sector's corrupt government with nothing but determination and a portable data recorder. The Empire's response was swift and brutal. Send the Shadowclaw unit, their most feared assassins. His damaged helmet's display, Marcus tracked 7 heat signatures moving through the crystalline forest. These weren't ordinary soldiers. The Shadowclaw unit had never failed a mission in 3 centuries. Their leader, Vorthik the Render, was legendary for his creative kills. His team included Seeks, a shapeshifter who could mimic any form, and Krex, whose cybernetic implants made him faster than most species' reflexes. Marcus shouldered his mining laser, its power cell showing only 30% charge. Against 7 elite killers with military-grade weapons, it seemed laughably inadequate. But humans had a saying that the Zephyrians were about to learn. It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog. The first mistake the Shadowclaw unit made was underestimating their target. They approached like they were hunting another typical alien species, predictable, following evolutionary patterns, limited by biological constraints. They had studied human physiology, but never human psychology. They knew Marcus could run for hours without stopping, but they didn't understand the human concept of spite. Marcus had spent 3 days preparing. While they tracked his false trail through the forest, he had been busy. The crystalline trees weren't just beautiful, they were conductive. The mineral deposits weren't just valuable, they were explosive under the right conditions. The seemingly random equipment scattered around his camp wasn't abandoned. It was strategically placed as the Shadowclaw unit closed in. Marcus smiled grimly. His mining experience had taught him that the best way to deal with a superior force wasn't to fight it head on. You changed the battlefield. You made the environment work for you. You turned their strengths into weaknesses. The calm crackled with Vorthik's voice. Human, you are surrounded. Surrender, and your death will be quick. Marcus keyed his response. Surrender? You clearly don't know humans very well. We have a saying about that. He paused, watching their heat signatures converge on his position. We prefer to negotiate from a position of strength. The explosion that followed lit up the entire forest. The art of human warfare, the blast had been a greeting card, not a killing blow. As the smoke cleared, Marcus observed the Shadowclaw unit regrouping. Vorthik was shouting orders in rapid Zephyrian, his translator struggling to keep up with his rage. 2 of his team members were down, not dead, but their equipment was fried by the electromagnetic pulse Marcus had rigged using his mining charges. Seeks emerged from behind a crystal formation, her form shifting between her natural state and Marcus's. Appearance. The human is more resourceful than anticipated, she hissed. He's turned this entire sector into a weapon. Marcus had indeed done exactly that. 3 days of preparation had transformed the mining site into a 3-dimensional chessboard, where every piece was a trap. The Zephyrians were hunting him, but they were also being guided through carefully prepared kill zones where human ingenuity trumped alien technology. From his concealed position, Marcus watched Krex's cybernetic enhancements scan the area. The alien's mechanical eye cycled through different spectrums, searching for human heat signatures. What it couldn't detect was the network of fiber optic cables Marcus had laid, creating a communication system that let him monitor their every move while remaining completely invisible to their sensors. The second phase of Marcus's plan activated. When Vorthic's heavy gunner, Vex, stepped on what appeared to be solid ground. The camouflaged pit wasn't designed to kill. It was designed to separate. As Vex plummeted 15 feet into the carefully prepared hole, Marcus triggered the next surprise. The walls of the pit began releasing a fine mist of crystalline dust. Harmless to humans, but causing severe respiratory distress to Zephyrian physiology. Psychological warfare, Marcus muttered, remembering his grandfather's stories from the human-Centauri conflicts. Make them afraid of the ground they walk on. Vorthix. Remaining team members were now moving with extreme caution, their confidence shattered. Every step could be their last. Every shadow could hide a trap. The predators had become prey, and they knew it. Marcus activated his next gambit. Using the mining site's industrial fabricators, he had spent 2 days creating what he called confusion. Grenades, devices that emitted sounds, lights, and electromagnetic signatures designed to overwhelm alien sensory systems. He had studied their species' weaknesses during his years in the Outer Rim, and knew that Zephyrians relied heavily on their enhanced hearing and electromagnetic sense. The forest erupted into chaos as a dozen false signatures activated simultaneously. The remaining Shadowclaw members fired at phantoms, their sophisticated weapon systems fooled by mining equipment programmed to mimic human life signs dot in the confusion. Marcus made his move, not to attack, but to communicate. His voice echoed from speakers hidden throughout the forest. You came here to kill one human. Instead, you're being systematically dismantled by mining equipment and industrial scraps. Want to know why? The firing stopped. Even elite killers, it seemed, were curious about their impending defeat. The philosophy of persistence, Vorthic's voice crackled through the cone system, equal parts fury and bewilderment. You're prolonging the inevitable, human. We are the Shadowclaw unit. We have never failed. Marcus's reply came from everywhere, and nowhere, his voice echoing through the crystal formations. That's because you've never fought humans before. You've fought prey animals, territorial species, hive minds. We're something different entirely. From his vantage point, Marcus watched the remaining 4 assassins form a defensive circle. Their training was impressive, their coordination flawless. Under normal circumstances, they would have been unstoppable. But these weren't normal circumstances, and Marcus wasn't fighting a normal war. You want to know what makes humans dangerous? Marcus continued, his voice carrying across the forest. It's not our technology. It's not our weapons. It's our absolute refusal to accept defeat as a permanent condition. To prove his point, Marcus activated the 3rd phase of his plan. The mining drones he had reprogrammed began their coordinated assault. Not military drones, construction equipment modified with human creativity. They moved in patterns that no alien military doctrine could predict, because they followed no military doctrine at all. That one drone carried welding equipment, modified into a non-lethal but extremely disorienting strobe weapon. Another had been fitted with sonic excavation tools that created targeted sound waves capable of disrupting alien neural pathways. The 3rd carried a payload of crystalline dust that would coat their equipment, making their advanced sensors useless. SYX tried to shapeshift into drone form, but Marcus had anticipated this. The drones operated on randomly shifting frequencies, making mimicry impossible. Her form flickered between shapes as she struggled to adapt to technology that changed every few seconds. You're fighting shadows, Vorthix snarled, firing at a drone that dissolved into component parts only to reassemble behind him. No, Marcus replied. I'm fighting smart. That's what humans do. We don't have your natural weapons, your enhanced senses, your cybernetic upgrades. So we improvise. We adapt. We overcome. The demonstration continued as Marcus revealed his masterstroke. Every trap, Every diversion, every misdirection had been leading to this moment. The Shadow Claw unit stood in the exact center of the mining site, surrounded by equipment they had dismissed as harmless industrial machinery. "You studied human physiology," Marcus said, his voice now coming from a single speaker directly above them. "You learned about our endurance, our tool use, our problem-solving capabilities. But you missed the most important thing about humans." The mining equipment began to move with purpose, forming a perfect circle around the 4 remaining assassins. Not threatening, not aggressive, just present. A reminder of human capability. "You missed our sense of humor," Marcus continued. "We actually find this situation amusing. 7 elite killers, the best the Zephyrian Empire could send, outsmarted by 1 human with a mining laser and a bad attitude. The silence that followed was deafening. Even the forest seemed to hold its breath. "So here's what happens next," Marcus announced. "You're going to leave. All of you. And you're going to tell your empire exactly what happened here. The message they'll never forget." The standoff stretched into its 2nd hour. Marcus had the Shadowclaw unit exactly where he wanted them, but he also knew that keeping them there indefinitely wasn't sustainable. His power cells were running low, and eventually they would adapt to his tactics. The time had come for the final phase of his plan. "You're wondering why I haven't killed you," Marcus said, his voice now coming from his actual position for the first time. He stepped into view, his mining laser held casually at his side. "Professional curiosity, I suppose. You came here to assassinate 1 human. Instead, you've received a masterclass in human warfare." Vorthic's mandibles clicked in what Marcus recognized as nervous laughter. "You think this is over, human? Even if you kill us, the Empire will send more. Bigger squads. Better weapons." "That's exactly why I'm not killing you," Marcus replied. "Dead assassins can't deliver messages. And I have a very important message for your Empire." He gestured to the mining equipment surrounding them. "Everything you've experienced here, every trap, every misdirection, every moment of confusion was created by 1 human with basic industrial equipment. I'm not a soldier. I'm not a strategist. I'm a mining engineer who got really, really annoyed." The truth of those words settled over the Shadowclaw unit like a weight. They had been defeated not by superior technology or overwhelming force, but by human creativity and stubborn determination. "Now imagine," Marcus continued, "what would happen if you faced a squad of actual human soldiers. People trained from birth to do exactly what I've been doing to you for the past few hours. People with military-grade equipment and years of experience." Seeks flickered between forms, her shape-shifting abilities useless against the psychological warfare Marcus had been waging. "You're bluffing. Humans are a minor species. You have no military worth mentioning." Marcus smiled, and for the first time, the expression was genuinely warm. "That's where you're wrong. We just don't advertise it. See, humans have this philosophy. Speak softly and carry a big stick. We prefer to solve problems through negotiation and trade. But when someone threatens our people, when someone sends assassins after our citizens ... double," he shrugged. "We become very creative problem solvers." The mining equipment began to power down, its threatening presence becoming merely industrial machinery. Once again. But the message was clear. What had seemed like random equipment was actually a carefully orchestrated demonstration of human capability. "Your empire made a mistake," Marcus said, holstering his mining laser. "They assumed that because humans are peaceful, we're weak. They confused kindness with inability. They mistook our preference for diplomacy as an absence of alternatives." He walked closer to the circle of assassins, his posture relaxed, but his eyes hard. "Go back to your empire. Tell them what happened here. Tell them that 1 human with mining equipment turned their most elite unit into a cautionary tale. And then tell them this: If they want to test human resolve further, they should. Be prepared for the consequences. The forest fell silent, except for the hum of cooling equipment and the distant sound of a human transport approaching. Marcus had triggered his extraction beacon during the standoff, and his backup team was finally arriving. Your ride home is over there, Marcus said, pointing to where the Shadowclaw unit's ship waited. I suggest you use it. The birth of a legend, the Shadowclaw unit's departure was swift and silent. No final threats, no promises of revenge, just the quiet acknowledgement that they had encountered something beyond their understanding. As their ship lifted off from Kepler 442b, Marcus stood among the deactivated mining equipment, watching the stars follow their vessel. His extraction team found him there an hour later, sitting on a piece of equipment that had terrified 7 elite assassins just hours before. Captain Reeton Novak, his longtime friend and commanding officer, approached with a mixture of relief and incredulity. Marcus, she said, when we lost contact 3 days ago, we thought you were dead. The intelligence reports said they sent the Shadowclaw unit after you. How are you still breathing? Marcus looked up from the datapad where he had been documenting the encounter. Turns out mining equipment is more versatile than anyone imagined. And humans are apparently more stubborn than anyone predicted. The story of what happened on Kepler 442b spread through human space like wildfire. Not through official channels, but through the kind of whispered conversations that happen in mining stations and freight docks. The tale grew with each telling, but the core remained constant. One human had defeated 7 elite alien assassins using nothing but determination and industrial equipment. But the real impact wasn't on human morale, it was on the galactic community. The Shadowclaw unit's report to the Zephyrian Empire was brief and devastating. Mission failed. Target demonstrated capabilities beyond current threat assessments. Recommend immediate policy review regarding human engagement protocols. Other species began to take notice. The peaceful traders who had been dismissed as a minor spacefaring civilization suddenly seemed more significant. If one human could do this, what could thousands do? What could millions do? Marcus returned to his mining operations, but the galaxy had changed around him. Trade negotiations with human representatives became more respectful. Territorial disputes involving human colonies were resolved more diplomatically. The incident report from Kepler 442b became required reading in several alien military academies. 6 months later, Marcus received a message through encrypted channels. It was from Vorthik, the Shadowclaw unit leader. The message was simple. The Empire wishes to establish formal diplomatic relations with humanity. Terms negotiable. Your demonstration was ... educational. Marcus smiled as he deleted the message. He had never intended to become a diplomat or a symbol of human capability. He had just been a mining engineer who refused to give up. But sometimes the galaxy needed reminding that the quiet species in the corner might be the most dangerous ones of all. The mining equipment around him hummed with familiar efficiency, processing crystalline ore just as it had before 7 assassins tried to kill him. But now, each piece of machinery carried a different meaning. They were no longer just tools. They were a testament to human ingenuity and the power of refusing to accept defeat. In the end, they had sent a kill squad for 1 human. It had ended in silence, not because the human had died, but because the entire galaxy had suddenly realized they had been underestimating humanity for far too long. The age of humans being overlooked was over. The age of humans being respected had begun. And it had all started with one stubborn mining engineer who refused to die quietly.